Who here by chance remembers Dead Island 2? Better yet, who here remembers back when 2015 was supposed to be the year for zombie games? We had Dying Light releasing in January, and Dead Island 2, the first zombie game that Techland essentially created themselves, and then went on to create Dying Light, which created even more excitement. Now we have Dying Light releasing in January, Techland leaving behind the Dead Island games, and then we have Dead Island 2, the game that was originally developed by Techland, releasing in April, and it was kind of just this competitive side of, did Techland make the right choice of leaving the Dead Island games behind, and is Dying Light gonna succeed? Is it gonna be worth that effort, taking that chance? Either way you slice it, whether if you're rooting for Techland and Dying Light or eyeing for Dead Island 2, or you just wanted to get both games, either case, zombie fans were gonna be treated to a fantastic year. At least that was the feeling as trailers and gameplay of both Dying Light and Dead Island 2 started to trickle in. Obviously, by now you guys all know how the story goes. Dying Light released, they turned out to be a massive success for Techland. Dead Island 2 silently, constantly switched through different development teams, slipped into development hell, and apparently is going to be re-announced in just a couple days here at Gamescom. A little over 7 years after its initial release date, we are going to be seeing a brand new release date with probably a brand new development team. And you might be asking, well, after 7 years of rumors, leaks, lack of information, or slight information of this game constantly switching new development teams, what makes me think this game is going to be announced at the new Gamescom? Well, besides in the recent leaks of more information coming out about this game and this game randomly being brought back up to light, there has apparently been an Amazon listing that was quickly removed, showing new box art, brand new pictures of the game, as well as a synopsis and a little bit of information of what we can expect from this version of Dead Island 2. Personally, I'm still a bit skeptical about all this, especially with this game being in development hell for 7 years, and instead of rebooting the project and starting from scratch like they probably should have done, I'm sure that would take an ass load of more money than Deep Silver would want to reinvest in this project, and I'm afraid they would just try to salvage and attempt to build on top of what the other developers have put together, which has always worked out amazingly well for the past products. But just like the original Dead Island games, Dead Island 2 is still an RPG based, and you will be able to choose one of 6 characters. In the original Techland games, you chose a character that has specific strength towards certain weapon types. The synopsis of Dead Island 2 claims you can customize the abilities of each slayer with our brand new skill system, allowing you to respec instantly and try out the craziest builds. Now I'm guessing they're probably going to stick to the concept of specific characters having strengths with particular weapon types, and as the game progresses and you go deeper into those skill trees, then you start seeing some crazier weapon concoctions, like specialized bullets for this game's version of Perna. You know, you can see acidic bullets, then you can invest more and more into whatever character this is that specializes in firearms, and then maybe you can make your bullets even more acidic and more deadly, or have specific traits that will just eat away at nerves of the infected. Basically, let's say you could shoot a leg, the acid eats away the legs, and bam, you just created a crawler. Things like that. With the quote-unquote craziest builds comment, I expect this game to be extremely wacky and more concerned with having fun killing the undead and not so much in realism. But we have 6 characters, with Dead Island 2 still taking place in California. Players will be going through locations like Los Angeles, Hollywood, and Venice Beach. There's actually a little bit of leaked gameplay of Venice Beach from the 2015 build of Dead Island 2. How this looks versus how the final product or what the revealed version of this game is going to look like this upcoming Tuesday is honestly anyone's guess, but it's a nice peek into the sort of direction the game was headed in, at least at that earliest stage. Interestingly, you're infected and immune to the virus that's taken over the state of California, with the military retreating and you being quote-unquote the only one to hold back the apocalypse. That by itself isn't all that mind-blowing. It's more so that we're going to be evolving as the game progresses. After the experience of Dying Light 2 and evolving into something else, I mean, I don't know. Dying Light 2 played it too safe, turned all Twilight and some weird vampire fan fiction towards the end, but if Dead Island can pull it off where on the brink of death you can get incredibly strong and knock a bunch of infected back, or become resilient towards certain enemy types for a small amount of time, I'm all there. They just gotta find a way where as you evolve or the pathogen or virus starts blending a little bit more with your DNA, there's a gameplay mechanic that makes each character unique and fun to play, useful in certain situations over each other. The game also mentions meeting quote-unquote larger than life characters, which is really hard for me to shake the image of Dead Rising Psychos out of my head. And with that series pretty much being dead and gone, I'd love to see that type of crazy shit in a zombie game return. Fingers crossed. I mean, I personally really love the Dead Rising series, and with that being dead and gone and there being a void of it, and if Dead Island 2 can kind of hit that blend where it scratches that itch Dying Light 2 just couldn't exactly hit, especially since that game is going through content content droughts right now, then you have Dead Island 2 basically being the bridge between the Dead Rising series and what's missing in the Dying Light games at the current moment. I think it'd be one hell of an experience. It can kind of be that bridge between those two games. Anyways, with all this positives, I do have one giant fear I can't shake, and that's with the accompanying screenshots of the new version of Dead Island 2. I do feel like this game still looks outdated. And don't get me wrong, I'm not usually a graphics snob, but I can't ignore the fact that this game has been passed around for the last 7 years like that one drunk chick at the party. Then they still have a PS4 and Xbox One versions. I get it, not everyone has next-gen consoles, but it's undeniable when you take older hardware into account, those do stunt the potential of the overall game, as the devs do have to devote resources to make the best overall experience on all platforms equally, which I'm all for. But with the history of Dead Island 2 and the screenshots, I'm still very iffy on it. I'm hoping that this upcoming Tuesday we really do see something. We not only get that trailer, but we do see some gameplay. Solid 10 to 15 minutes of what this game looks like, some of the characters, some of the weapon types, what the decapitation looks like, what the graphics and physics look like. This is a game that I think genuinely has to be scrutinized because it's been through hell and not too many games can actually bounce back successfully after a rough journey like this. But I'm gonna pass this on to you. What do you think about all this? Are you guys excited for Dead Island 2? Are you just more so curious about what it's gonna look like in its announced state? Are you surprised that it's even still a thing? I thought they scrapped that shit a long time ago. But let's talk down in the comment section. I'm gonna be reading all the comments like usual. If you have any questions, hit me up down there, or feel free to join the Discord. Link is down in the pinned comment. But like always, guys, my name is Cynic. Thank you all so much for watching. And until the next video, let's talk about Dying Light 2's upcoming DLC, or even Spider-Man on PC, which was one hell of a port.